peculiarities of how the government and how the state-run electricity boards sort of function in that part of the country?
See, I have always been on the other side, right? I have dealt with my father sometimes not getting his salaries, sometimes the month's salary is not coming in because the collection agencies are not able to accumulate the monies, and they're working round the clock. And within the things that lots of people, there's a kind of a collaboration also sometimes of, you know, when the electricity is stolen and things happen. I've seen my father, I have a memory of my father on strike. I remember that memory because he would shave every day, and that was the only time I've seen him unshaven. So, and these very childhood memories of things. But you know, I've seen that part of the story. So every time when I went to Delhi to study, and I would see Delhi में आप वहाँ जाओगे अगर पहाड़गंज या उधर वहाँ पे आपको दिखेंगे हजारों कटियाँ लगी हुई. जहाँ भी एक नया इलीगल डेवलपमेंट शुरू होता है वहाँ बिजली पहले कटिया से पहुँचती है. फिर after it is legalized much later on, then they actually put up the poles and the wires. And I know the struggle they used to have. Now this film actually has the other two faces of it. The officer, the UPSC state IAS officer involved, whose in charge, whose job is to collect revenues and make sure her department is to make sure people pay their bills and take strict actions. And the other is the man who's actually stealing the electricity. So those two worlds I only saw in this movie. So far I was away from all that because I grew up in powerhouses. All the powerhouses you saw in Gangs of Wasseypur is all where my father worked. That's how I got access to those places.
Also the kind of character that Loha Singh is, you know, you find these very interesting people in the interiors of India that a lot of filmmakers have not tapped into. This is a move in that direction as well, to show, you know, sort of interesting and very quirky characters coming out of the smaller towns.
Loha Singh is quirky, but see, I know Loha Singh from what I see in the movie. They spend more time with Loha Singh. I think they should answer the question about Loha Singh.
How did you find such a quirky, peculiar character as Loha Singh?
So Loha was a very chance find. We were actually supposed to shoot with a different Katiyabaaz before that, but he developed cold feet at the last moment, being in front of the camera, so he backed out. And initially our crew was coming in from Austria, so they were here, and everybody was sitting around, and we suddenly didn't have a main character to shoot with. And then we met Loha Singh, and he came up to us and he said, "You want to see something cool?" And he sort of took us to this transformers. He rearranged a few wires, and that transformer just sort of, you know, exploded.
That's in the film also.
That was actually the first time when we met Loha Singh. And we just knew right then, and just the way that he presented himself, he's not very tall, but he presents himself to be this giant of a man who's stomping around Kanpur, attaching katiyas, helping the poor and stuff. So he's a very engaging character. And it's, as Anurag said, he's someone that you can't completely essay on screen. There's a lot of there is someone so completely different from anybody that we had met before, that we knew that we just wanted to shoot with him.
He's like a Thomas Peary and Albert Camus of the streets of Kanpur. Ranjan Singh ka hai.
I mean, we're trying for metros and hopefully 40-45 screens. That's the plan.
अनुराग, ऐसी खबरें आ रही थी कि आप कोई डॉक्यूमेंट्री फिल्म भी बना रहे हैं, कुछ प्रकाश डालेंगे इस पे?
मैं डॉक्यूमेंट्री फिल्म बना रहा हूँ? मेरे को तो लगता है मेरे को बन रही है रोज. नहीं, मैं अभी ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. अभी मेरे पास अपनी फिल्में खत्म कर लूँ बहुत है. ये साल तो मेरा पूरा अगली बॉम्बे वेलवेट और युद्ध में निकल जाएगा.
युद्ध को काफी अच्छा रिस्पांस मिल रहा है, तो इस तरह का एक्सपेक्ट किया था आपने?
मैं अभी एडिटिंग रूम में मैं बाहर निकलता ही नहीं हूँ, तो मुझे कुछ नहीं पता कहाँ क्या रिस्पांस मिल रहा है. मैंने अखबार पढ़ने बंद कर दिया, मैंने सोशल नेटवर्क पढ़ना बंद कर दिया, तो मुझे पता ही नहीं क्या हो रहा है. बहुत अच्छा है, मैं काम कर रहा हूँ.
विक्रम, आपकी भावेश जोशी की काफी बातें आ रही हैं. मतलब फिल्म में हीरोइन है कौन? सिद्धार्थ के ऑपोजिट कौन है? सोनाक्षी? ऐसे
पता नहीं, सोनाक्षी नहीं है अभी तक, पता नहीं कौन है. ये न्यूज़ मैंने पता नहीं कहाँ से ये आते जा रही है, तो मैं कुछ बोल नहीं रहा हूँ. अभी तक कास्ट नहीं किया. Siddharth's in the film, that's it. That's all we know right now. December.
All right, last one question.
किसको कंसीडर कर रहे हैं आप? एक्ट्रेस
है ही कितने?
Related to Katiyabaaz.
question is to Vikramaditya and Anurag. How do you make sure that films like these, which are high on content, reach a wider audience and get more revenues? So do you have certain plans and the way ahead? Because mostly we see that films with good content are not noticed, and maybe that is why the number of films that are being made are not that much. Such content driven films which are good. So how do you make sure that such films reach a high, good audience and they earn revenue?
The first thing is, if you have a much higher budget to be able to market the film and distribute the film, then you can always go out there. But the fact is, each film has its own life, its own value, and you have to let the film grow. And I think Katiyabaaz is the kind of film where you go out there, and the average documentary would get 20 screens. We're saying 40, 45 screens, trying to get a little bit bigger, put some money into the marketing, so people actually can see the fact that there's a film out there. You know, a lot of people say, "Kaun si film kab aayi thi?" You know. So that's the only way of actually doing it, is making people aware that the film is out there, making people go see it, and then the film does it for itself. You know, once the film, automatically, it's a great film, people go watch it, the word of mouth spreads, and hopefully we can go from metros to smaller towns and then see. I think it's the first time we're doing it, so even at that level, we love it, so we're pushing it out there to see. But yeah, I agree. I think that the smaller films need to be seen a lot more and that kind of stuff. But sadly, we're a very economics and star-driven industry, so if you have the marketing muscle, you can go wider. If you can't, you can't. So let's see. I think it's a journey which is quite long. Yeah, so it's a start.
Yeah, hi. My question is for Fahad India. Okay, today, as he rightly said that, the content-based films are very difficult to release in the kind of country and the backdrop and the economic strains we have in the country. If Phantom wouldn't have been on board, what was your plan to release the film at first hand, and how you planned to create an awareness? Because unless and until you have a celebrity element attached to a content-driven film, it gets really difficult.
Honestly, I don't have an answer for that. We are just very glad that we have this Phantom platform to work with. When we first started making the film, this was 2011, हमें बहुत शुरू में we decided that this is a film that we want to bring to Indian audiences. So often films like this, they travel the festival circuit. ये यूरोप में, नॉर्थ अमेरिका में लोग appreciate करते हैं और ये वहीं रह जाती हैं. They come out on PBS and Arta, and that's their life. We were very conscious that this is a film that we want to bring back home. And honestly, I don't know. We don't have a plan B. We've just been working hard to bring it to theaters, and this is the possibly the best thing that could have happened to us in terms of getting a release.
अनुराग भैया और विक्रम जी, आप दोनों से एक सवाल था मेरा. हिंदुस्तान में दो चीज़ों की काफ़ी लोग दिल से जुड़े रहते हैं. एक होती है हिंदी फिल्में और एक होता है क्रिकेट. हिंदी फिल्मों की काफ़ी देर से बात होगी. मैं एक क्रिकेट की जरा बात पूछना चाह रहा था आप दोनों से ही. पिच टैम्परिंग करके कई सारे बड़े प्लेयर्स हैं, इंक्लूडिंग सचिन तेंदुलकर, जिनका स्टिंग ऑपरेशन के थ्रू सामने आया कि वो पिच टैम्परिंग कराते थे. इस तरीके से उनके फैंस या फिर आम जनता जो दिल से अटैच रहती है, उनकी भावनाओं को बहुत ठेस पहुंची है. आप लोग का क्या कहना है, क्योंकि आप लोग भी क्रिकेट के काफी लवर्स कहलाए जाते हैं?
आप लोग न्यूज टैम्परिंग करते, हमारी भावनाओं को भी बहुत ठेस पहुंचती है.
फिलहाल तो पिच की बात हो रही है अनुराग जी.
नहीं, मैं तो हर चीज की बात करता हूँ.
विक्रम जी आपसे
इसके बाद क्या बोलूं?
नहीं, इस तरीके से भावनाएं जो ठेस लगती हैं आम लोगों की, उसको क्या कहना चाहेंगे?
जिस आदमी को ठेस पहुंची है उसको उससे डील करना है. जिसने ठेस पहुंचाई है उसको उससे डील करना है. और ना, जब लोग अपनी अपनी समस्याओं से डील करने लग जाएं, हमारे देश की आधी प्रॉब्लम वहीं सॉल्व हो जाएंगे.
All right, thanks a lot. Thanks, a huge applaud to them. And coming back to the movie, it's releasing on